Welcome to the School Leaders Podcast. My name is Dr. Gastard Harrigan, the podcast for current and emerging school leaders, those who support and supervise them. You will hear from passionate educational leaders who are transforming their schools, communities, and creating positive outcomes for students. I will also share my personal reflections and tips from over 15 years as a school leader. Together, we will talk about how to level up our schools and leadership practices. Hello, and welcome to the School Leaders Podcast. This is your host, Dr. Gastard Harrigan. Before we get started with today's episode, I want to encourage all of our listeners to join the School Leaders Podcast community on Facebook. Yes, join our community on Facebook. There we continue and extend our conversations from the episode. I would also like to thank Rita and Jason on Twitter for sharing the podcast. When you share the podcast, please tag me so I can personally thank you. At this time, take a moment right now to subscribe to the podcast and share this episode. Don't forget to also leave a 5-star rating and a comment. When you do so, it helps other listeners to find the podcast. Let's get started. In today's episode, I am going to share 5 leadership self-care tips. These self-care tips are intended as reminders for school leaders and principals as they enter the holiday season and throughout the school year to refuel and rejuvenate. 2 lumberjacks had a contest on who would cut down more trees. The contest began, and the younger began chopping down one tree after another without stopping. He noticed that the older lumberjack chopped down trees for 1 hour, then took a 15-minute break. At the end of the day, when all the felled trees were counted, the older lumberjack had chopped down one-third more trees than the younger lumberjack. The younger lumberjack asked the older guy, "How could you, taking every hour, cut down more trees than I did cutting nonstop all day?" The older lumberjack gentleman said, "Well, because I stop, I sharpen my axe." Some folks spend time chopping away at work, chopping away at a project, never really accomplishing much. It's because you are simply using a dull axe. So as we enter this holiday season and as we close out this year and plan and get excited for the new year, it's important that you take time to refill, to rejuvenate, to sharpen your axe. You can never expect to reach and accomplish the level of effectiveness your job requires if you are operating with a dull axe. The first leadership self-care tip for this holiday season and throughout the new year is tip number 1, pause. We need to find space to reflect as we come to the end of the year. We should recharge our leadership battery and renew our soul by changing pace. When we pause, we are actually changing our pace. In fact, Oprah Winfrey once said that even in the daily craziness that bombard us from every direction, there is still the consistency of stillness. Only from that space can you create your best work and your best life. I try to give myself a healthy dose of quiet time at least once, and when I am on point, twice a day. So when Oprah Winfrey took time to enjoy stillness throughout the day, to pause, to reflect, it is very important that we, during this holiday season, take time to pause. It is important to take time to just pause and reflect on 2022. Reflect on your achievements. Perhaps reflect on areas of improvement, areas of growth. What's important is that you pause, you remain still, you ponder, you reflect. Then you will gain greater clarity, greater clarity for the direction that you are to take. And then next you can make some small steps now toward your new goals and dreams and enter 2023 centered and with momentum. Tip number 2, get your rest. The holidays are filled with activities and events. Please enjoy them, but take time to rest and catch up with sleep. It is a time right now to really stay in bed or go to sleep earlier. Getting less than 6 hours of sleep per night is a number one risk factor for burnout. Let me repeat this. Somebody need to hear this. Getting less than 6 hours of sleep per night is the number one risk factor for burning out. So it's important that you turn off or set aside all electronics and give your eyes as well as your mind an opportunity to rejuvenate and reset. As soon as you finish listening to this episode, plan, strategize how you're going to turn off your cell phone, all electronics, and give your eyes, your mind, the opportunity to rejuvenate, to refill, and to reset. At the end of the day, it is truly all about rest, and getting some more rest. Tip number 3, cultivate an attitude of gratitude. You know, research says that there are huge health and wellness benefits when we practice an attitude of gratitude. Everything from a stronger immune system to simply feeling less lonely and happier. In fact, there's also professional benefits plus to practicing an attitude of gratitude. Grateful people are more likely to achieve their personal goals. And that's according to Robert Emmons. He's a professor and he also authored the book, Thinks How the New Science of Gratitude Can Make You Happier. But let me repeat that. Grateful people are more likely to achieve their personal goal. I don't know what your personal goal is as you reflect and end this year. I don't know what your personal goals are for next year. But keep this in mind. If you practice the attitude, cultivate the attitude of gratitude, grateful people are more likely to achieve their personal goal. So be grateful for your life. Be grateful for your achievements. Overall, be grateful for family and for friends. It is easy, my friend, to focus on what you don't have. It is easy to focus on what you have lost in 2022. But today, focus and be grateful for what you have. Yes, focus and be grateful for what is in front of you. Family, friends, those in your inner circle, focus on them. Tip number 4, make room for laughter. I don't know about you. Sometimes I'm too serious. But it's important that as we end this year, entered in this season, and enter into a new year, that we make room for laughter. You may have heard the old saying, laughter is a medicine to the soul, or laughter is the best medicine. Well, it turned out there are some medical benefits to laughing. When we laugh, our brain activity changes in a way that lower our stress response. Again, let me repeat that for you. When you laugh, your brain activity changes in a way that lower your stress response. So don't take yourself too serious. Don't take your work too serious. Don't take that project too serious. Don't take or let the holiday season stress you out so much that you forget the importance of laughter, that you forget to laugh. Even God isn't panicked about all the world's problem. Why should you? So today, lighten up, share some humor with others, and enjoy the journey. Again, lighten up, cheer up, share some humor with others, and really enjoy the journey. Enjoy the holiday season. Enjoy your family. Laugh, smile, enjoy life. Enjoy the people in your life, the people in your circle. Tip number 6, focus forward. Focus forward simply means that self-care means simply moving ahead, moving forward, not looking back. Making goals for tomorrow, making goals for next week, making goals for the season, making goals even for the new year. On your first step, your first goals toward the future. Focus forward. Don't spend too much time worrying about the goals you didn't achieve. Don't spend too much time worrying about your haters. You would always have them. Don't spend too much time and too much energy focusing on yesterday, focusing on the past, focusing on what you lost. But focus forward. Focus on tomorrow. Yes, today. Focus on tomorrow. Focus on your next move. Focus on next year. Focus forward. There you have it. I hope you were able to take away at least one nugget to improve your self-care over the holiday season and as we enter into the new year. If you know anyone who would benefit from this episode, please share it. Thank you for joining me today. Please consider subscribing to the podcast, leave a 5-star rating and a comment, share this episode with a friend, and on social media. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook for leadership ideas and tips. Again, thank you for joining me today. Until next time.